So good evening, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. We are experiencing more and more of our folks who have registered for this evening for our parent forum to come on. So we're giving that a couple of more seconds before we start taking questions. So in that meantime, let me first introduce myself for those of you who may not know me. My name is Dr. Mike Lonergan. I'm the superintendent of schools here at Longwood, and I'm going to allow a few of the folks that are here tonight with me answering questions to introduce themselves so you know who you're hearing from and speaking to.
Lisa Motto, Assistant to the Superintendent for Administration.
Good evening, I'm Janet Bryan. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for District Operations.
Good evening, Vaughn Denton, Assistant Superintendent for People Personnel and Community Services.
Maria Castro, Assistant Superintendent for Instruction and Learning.
John Ryan, Transportation Coordinator.
Steve Harding, Director of Facilities. James Parada, Director of School Safety.
Thank you, folks. So we've selected the individuals around the table here who we believe, given questions that we have received from parents already about our reopening plan, seems to make sense. So hopefully we'll be able to answer as many questions as we can between now and 9 p.m. this evening. We have a lot of registrants, over 1,000 of our parents have registered for tonight. A little bit less tomorrow, and then at the same time, as well as for Thursday morning. So we should have the opportunity to be able to answer most. I don't know if we're going to get to all the questions, but we have a vehicle for you to follow up with that after Thursday as well. So let me set the stage by saying thank you for participating and for being here. We're very anxious to be able to answer your questions as you pose them to us. I will tell you that we have spent a lot of time, because many of you have been working with us, on updating our question and answer portion of our website on very, very similar questions that have come in over the past 3 or 4 weeks. So we encourage everybody, no matter whether you get your questions answered this week or not, to log on daily to our website and check up for updates and additional answers to questions that do come in. And also understand, very importantly, where we go from here this week. All of our principals and building administrations are working very hard this week and into next week in drilling down on the plan that was posted on our website on the 31st of July. Many of your questions are specific to what happens at our elementary level, our middle school, our junior high, and senior high. Those questions will be best answered by our building administration over the next couple of weeks. There'll be more opportunities like this because each principal will be hosting virtual times with our parents where questions could be answered specific to their building, to where your children are attending, between now and the 3rd of September. That more than likely is going to continue the first couple of weeks of school so that parents have the opportunity to speak with building administration and get updates on where we are with our programs, with the onset of the hybrid model, as well as the distance learning. One of the most popular questions that we're getting, and maybe that would answer for a few of you this evening, is the following. Is that if the distance learning model is being offered, which it is, to parents who would prefer their children to be taught remotely starting in September. Can I opt out of that back into the virtual model, or to the hybrid model, excuse me, or vice versa? Can I move from the hybrid model into the distance learning? And the commitment, as we know, for distance learning, as many of you do know already, is we're asking parents to commit from September through the end of the semester of January 29th of 2021, at which time we can reassess where you are and your children as to whether or not they come back to school or they continue for the year on distance learning. So we have some flexibility, but we need your cooperation should a student who starts on the hybrid model and you decide to remove them from that into the distance learning. We need you to have a conversation with their teacher and with their principal, just so that we understand and you understand the need for that to happen. So more of that will come over the next few weeks, and certainly all of your questions at one time or other are going to be addressed, and we're hoping that we start the year as comfortable as possible, but there'll be more, and we're okay with that, and we'll be able to supply answers as we go through. So we're going to start our question and answer period now. We have between now and 9 p.m. tonight, tomorrow night, and 11 o'clock on Thursday morning to 1 p.m. And the way we're doing it with the folks who are listening right now will be through the wave process on Zoom if you've been there before. So when you wave, the computer will pick you up. You'll appear on our screen. And we ask you, please keep your questions as brief as possible so that we can get through as much as we can here tonight and tomorrow night and Thursday. And follow-up questions certainly to our email. All of your questions on emails can continue now through the rest of this year at reopening LCSD at longwoodcsd.org. At any time, those questions are welcome, and you can post, and we answer them as quickly as we can. So with that, our first parent up tonight, come on in. We'll get you. When you are with us and you're there, please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Hi, this is Kimberly. I have two questions. I hope they're easy ones. The first one is, if you have children in households with different last names that land them on two different schedules, is there a way to get them on the same schedule?
I believe that that would be a conversation with the building principal, because we are aware that we do have siblings with different last names, and we will do our best to accommodate them.
So it's not a guarantee, but we will try to work with families where that's becoming a hardship to the best of our ability. You have our word on that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And the other question, hopefully again an easy one, is students that have accommodations like a 504, is there anything in place for them to attend school more than the 2 days because they don't do well with distance learning?
That would depend, I guess, on the 504 plan and what's been there for your child previously.
Okay.
But remember that even though we have our cohorts here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, that we have instruction going on for all 5 days. So again, that would be a conversation that you would have with the 504 team at the school that your child is attending. But keep in mind that we are connecting with all of our students Monday through Friday as well. So please feel free to follow up with that with your building principal in the next couple of weeks. That's a good question. And thank you for being here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. And who's up next?
Hi, my name's Eileen Clemens. How are you?
Good, Mrs. Clemens. How are you doing tonight?
Good, good. Just a quick question regarding the 3 meetings. Are all these pretty much the same, just for opportunity for everyone to attend, or is it suggested that you attend all 3?
We're hoping that all 3 will address the great majority of questions that parents have on our reopening plan. So we don't have a set agenda here tonight. So as the questions come in, we're trying to answer them and giving 3 nights to be able to do that. But certainly when we're finished on Thursday, there's going to be additional questions, and they can be addressed by both our building administration and through some email question and answers that we have.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we don't get to see anybody's face, huh?
Well, they have their video.
Oh, that's a shame.
Oh,
Okay.
it's a little bit laggy.
Next up,
Yes.
Guess Marilyn's not around.
Marilyn, are you there? Okay, maybe we'll come back.
So I asked Cassie to unmute.
Hi, I have a question.
Sure, who's this?
How would the distance online working exactly go? Will they be on the computer all day, or is it set times like it was towards the last end of the year?
So our goal is to make things different than what we had to put together on the fly, so to speak, last year. And the one feedback that we received from both our parents and our students and our teachers was the need for more additional face-to-face contact with one another during this process. So that's our goal, is for students who are at home on distance learning for the 3 days and in school on the 2 days, along with students who have chosen to be on distance learning for 5 days, that the contact that they will have with their teachers, you will see a substantial difference from last year to this year. We're currently working with our teachers now, some of them who had done some wonderful things last year, and their recommendations will also be incorporated. So every day, our plan is to have some live contact with each of our teachers for our students who are on distant learning. And we believe it's going to be substantially different than it was in the past. Anybody want to add to that? Anyone?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Next up, who's there with us? Hello?
Hello, hi, sorry.
That's okay, Amy. How are you?
In
I'm sorry, Amy. You're
would
breaking up.
they be doing electives while they're in school and changing classes and choosing to stay at home?
So
Oh,
I
can
think,
you hear me?
your question was, oh boy. I'm sorry, your question was breaking up. We didn't get it all. Could you try it again?
Oh, okay. In the high school, would they be doing electives while they're in
Yeah, Amy, I'm sorry, we can't hear you. I'm gonna try one more
school
time
and
with you, okay?
changing classes, and how will it be done for those choosing the stay-at-home electives?
Quick question with regards to electives.
Race down here, I think.
So in terms
Yeah,
of
in the high school, would they be done for those choosing the stay-at-home option?
So my understanding of your question is in terms of electives in the high school. So the high school has a master schedule. Students will have a schedule like they have had in the past, the 9 periods, where it will include the core and any electives, whether it's art, music, and any course, whether the child is in two days and out 3 days during the week, or in full distance learning, they will have access and opportunities to work with those teachers on that set schedule. I hope that answered, I think, the question.
Okay, who's up next?
And what about at home? If they choose the at home,
So at home, yeah, they will still, so the student will still have this, a schedule that will be sent from the high school to them, and they must follow the schedule. So it will be, if it's distance learning, they will have a teacher who will be communicating with them via the Google Meet platform.
Next. Okay, we got another question coming up. Who's with us? Okay, Brian, are you there, Brian?
Hi, yep, I am. I'm trying to understand, or maybe you can clarify, if the teachers in the elementary are 4 days, like two and two, for the distance learning, how do those kids interact with the teacher on those days, or do they not?
Who's got that?
The teachers will be interacting with their class on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If I'm saying if the teacher is in the class with their kids, they're 12, 10, whatever, however number it is, all the kids that are at home, is there a video on or something? I'm not sure.
So we are working with our teachers this week to come up with those models so that we can address your questions more proficiently.
The bottom line to your question is that it will look differently than we have done it in the past, Brian. And what we're trying to do is set up time for the students at home to do some independent work and be able to check back with their teacher again at various times during the course of the day. So what that exactly will look like, we will have better planned by the end of next week, but it's going to be a good combination of the two of those. We must have our teachers contacting our students on a daily basis in a variety of ways, and that's the prelude for what we want to do overall.
Mm.
Thanks for your
Okay.
question.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll hear next week. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Who's next? Melissa. Melissa, are you there with us?
I'm here.
Okay, great. What's your question?
I have a question. How are the buses being run? Are they being run normal?
They are, and can you be a little bit more specific on your question? What are you looking for with regards to our buses?
I was just wondering if our children will still be able to take the bus, like normally, how they would, just on the days.
Yes, business as usual with transportation, without a doubt.
And
with reduced capacity, of course.
Okay, I just have one other question. For parents that work, do you know if the program that they have at the school, the Right at Home, would take the children on the other days?
The Right at School before and after care program, that will be up and running as usual. It's a daycare program right now, and we anticipate that not changing for essential parents who are essential workers, that their children will be able to attend on the days that they're not in school. But we're not there yet entirely because we don't know if that executive order is going to continue into the school year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Hello, Tiffany, are you with us? Tiffany, are you there? Or is it Karen? Okay, she took her hand down. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Karen, how are you?
Good, how are you? I have
Doing
two
well,
quick
thanks.
questions. All right, my first question is why isn't temperatures being taken at the bus stop?
Why aren't they, or why are they?
Why aren't they?
That is our plan, is to have our children's temperature taken prior to entering our school buildings.
Right, but why aren't they being taken before they get on the bus? This way, a parent doesn't have to then run to the school, God forbid, their child winds up with, showing a temperature. Why are they being allowed on the bus?
Right, so let me just put my mask back on. So the piece with that is if we, depending on the situation with children at the bus stop, if parents somehow drop the students off and they leave those students, we're basically not allowed, or we don't want to leave students at the bus stop without knowing if a parent or guardian is going to be home. So the plan for us is before they enter the school building, as they're getting off, the plan we talked about today, either getting on the bus and doing a temperature check as they enter the school grounds, or as they get off the school bus, doing something, a similar format to a bus drill, where all the students before they enter the building will be scanned. There will be temperature checked. The concern we have with leaving kids the bus stop or checking them, and there's an issue, if there's no parent there, that could raise a situation for us as well.
I get that. I mean, with the beginning of school, with the temperatures being a little hot, I mean, some of the kids that get picked up first could wind up showing a little hot, and that's a concern. And then my other question is how do you expect us to decide between distance learning by Monday when you're not going to have all the answers until the end of next week?
So much of the answers will happen before the end of next week. We anticipate that, but what will happen starting close to the end of this week and into next week, Karen, will be, and I may have mentioned this before, much of the activity of what distance learning will look like at individual buildings will be put out there by our principals. So the conversations after this week on what distance learning will look like at CEW, at the middle school, at the high school, you're going to hear that directly from the building administration way before our kids get off the bus on the 8th of September.
Right, but you want us to make the decision by August 24th, and we're not going to have all the answers.
We may have a little bit of flexibility on that, Karen, but you're right. I understand that's a very good question because you may be weighing a number of different things, but we have some flexibility with that. So if you were to say something to us on the 3rd of September, we're going to listen to you. We can work the best way we can.
Okay, thank you.
We understand that we understand it's a very tight time frame for this.
Right, and I get you guys have to get things in order too, but it's just, you understand. All right, thank you.
Without a doubt, you're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lucy McHugh.
How are you, Lucy?
Good. How are you guys?
Okay.
I have 3 questions. I'll make them really quick. You did touch upon if we do decide to do the hybrid, but if we choose at some point based on our comfortability, we want to pull our child for 5-day virtual learning, you will work with us. There isn't like a time frame that we have to commit. Like I know for the virtual learning, we have to commit until the end of January, but the other way around, there is a flexibility with that. If we decide to go from hybrid, pull our kids home.
Yes, Lucy, there is, but we want to make that a very independent and an individual decision between you, the classroom teacher, and your administrator. So that's why we're encouraging that conversation. But yes, there is some flexibility given the reasons that are there, without a doubt.
Okay. Next question is, I was reading on, your opening plan about attendance. For parents that, I guess we're all trying to figure this out. What if schoolwork isn't being able to be done on virtual days until the evening? I know you guys did say there was flexibility with that. I just want some clarification, like on virtual days, if parents can only assist, like my son's in 1st grade, he can't work independently. How is that going to work with,
We will continue to be as liberal as possible in that regard so that our children have the greatest support that they have to them, and that's you guys. So there won't be any cut, black and white has to be done by 3 o'clock, without a doubt. We'll be as liberal as possible with that, and our teachers are very much aware of that.
Okay, and last question, because I know there's other parents. Chromebooks. I did submit a request. When do you guys will have an idea of which parents or students will have those? That way parents can make plans if we need to try to purchase a book or something like that.
Yeah, we're in the process of inventory right now from students who had them last year and who are returning them, as well as some new Chromebooks that we have distributed in our 9th grade and 5th grade. So we should know what those numbers are better this time next week and be able to entertain more realistically requests from parents. But we don't have, and that's a very good question, we don't have a Chromebook for every child in our school district. So we will be asking parents to be sure that if there are other devices that can be used for the process, that they look at that. But we'll work with every family who doesn't have one to the best of our ability.
Okay, and that's all I got. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Don't do anything now.
Hello.
Good evening. Who's this?
Oh, this is Mrs. Engel and my husband, Fred.
Hi. Well, it's nice to meet you.
We are senior citizens who are raising an 11-year-old. Our grandson, Dad, works 16-hour days. So basically, we are back in middle school and everything is new to us. So Liam actually did not do well last year with the distance learning, just hitting buttons and hoping he got the right answer. And so I wondered, you seem to think that in January there would be a reassessment of whether or not the children could go full-time?
It would be a reassessment in before the end of January, Mrs. Engel, to decide whether or not children would continue for the rest of the year or to whatever point we see realistic on distance learning, or come back into the hybrid model where they would attend school 2 days a week and distance learn on 3. So yes, at that time.
Okay, so there is no plan for the 2020 year to have full-time, face-to-face in-school learning. Am I understanding that?
That is absolutely correct. The hybrid model permits our students to be face-to-face in school 2 days a week and distance learning 3 days a week. Or if the family chooses the 5 days distance learning at home. That's correct.
Okay. Now, somebody mentioned before about the Chromebooks.
Yes.
How do we go about registering for one of those?
For registration, I would say you should start with your building principal.
Okay.
What they will do is they'll take your name, put your name on a list, and once we're done with the inventory process, we'll go through our process as far as need and satisfy that at that time.
Okay, okay, so we would go through the school, the principal in the middle school and request that.
Right, start there.
Miss Tilly, okay.
Right, as Dr. Lonigan said before, we do have a limited supply, right? So, we're going to try to work with our parents as much as possible to see what we can support, so.
Okay, just, I'm sorry I'm taking time. This is just very overwhelming. As far as hard textbooks, I'm ready to go back to old-fashioned learning. Are we going to be able to have hard textbooks at home with some kind of a schedule? You know, they have to complete this lesson by this day. You know, some kind of a schedule with books, because last semester there were like do pages 54 and 55, but on the computer, you couldn't see what the page numbers were.
Right. So Ms. Engel,
yes.
So in terms of textbooks, I know we've been moving more to a digital platform, but we'll look with the middle school to see what is available, what is being utilized for curriculum.
Right.
These are things that we will be looking at carefully. I know that for instance, the social studies book is still a hard-covered book.
Right.
In terms of a schedule, all students will have a schedule that will need to be followed as if they were in school. That's
Okay.
regardless of whether they're in a hybrid model or distance learning model. A schedule will be given to them, and the teachers will be telling them when to log on, and what the expectations are for that when they're at home, when to log on and meet with that teacher face to face.
Okay, okay. Now the distance learning, those days, is that going to be like this Zoom, or is that going to be something that's pre-recorded that the children are going to watch on their own?
So at this time, we are working with our teachers, and the expectation is that there will be a live interaction like we are having now with you.
Yes.
So there will be that type of interaction, as well as probably some recordings, but
Okay.
there has to be substantial interaction with the teacher when the student is home.
Okay, okay.
Bus schedule.
And I guess we'll get a bus schedule like we normally would have.
You will.
It will be mailed to us.
You will.
Okay. Thank you
So,
very much for
That's
your
okay, but
patience.
before you log out, I'm taking my mask off because I want to
Yes.
tell you that in this conversation, I believe Liam, the grandson, is a very
Yes.
lucky young man to have both you and his grandfather advocating for him. So he'll be in our middle school this year. Yeah.
Correct, sixth grade,
Okay.
yes.
So Mrs. Tilley is our building principal, and she's watching
Yes.
now. So Mrs. Engel, when you have any question whatsoever about Liam's work this year,
Mhm.
or assistance that you and your husband need to help him out, and this goes to all of our parents, you reach out to that principal, or you can call me directly and we'll help you out to get you through this, okay?
Okay.
Because we understand that this is a huge commitment for you, and we'd like to
Right.
be able to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I volunteered to get him on the bus, not be the teacher.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate you being with
Okay,
us.
thank you.
Very good.
So is Karen.
Eileen?
Ellen.
Helen, I'm sorry. We'll give you a little bit of time at the end of the show, okay, if you want to review anything that you have prepared regarding the executive order and our mandates. Is that something that you'd be comfortable with?
As far as which executive order?
The governor's.
Right, but,
Huh?
What's happening?
tomorrow.
Even better. That's good. Good idea. Hey, good evening. How can we help you?
Hi, how are you? My name is Mrs. Cruz.
How are
My
you,
daughter.
Mrs. Cruz?
Hi, how are you? My daughter goes to West Middle Island. I had a question regarding the school and the mask policy. I do know when she was in school there, the last 2 years, she went to pre-K as well. There was a lack of air conditioning. And my question is with that being the case, how many mask breaks are they going to get? Because to be wearing a mask all day in a heated building in the spring or when they go back is obviously a very big issue.
Yeah, so
I know from working in healthcare myself, to have a mask on for that long is impossible for an adult to do, let alone a 6-year-old child.
And Mrs. Cruz, you're absolutely correct. So our plan is to keep our kids safe. That's why the mask requirement is there. Our teachers will have fairly liberal opportunities to give mask breaks during the course of the day in the classroom. Because we are working very hard on keeping our children socially distanced from one another the best we can, we should be able to do that on regular intervals, especially in the beginning of the school year when we have some of those warmer days. So that will be happening on a regular basis.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Talk to you again.
Hi, this is Nancy Lagurcio. How are you?
Okay, Mrs. LaGuercio, how are you tonight?
I'm good. I just have a quick question regarding the incoming freshmen to the high school.
Take your time.
Is there going to be a plan for them to have some type of an orientation prior to them coming in? Because I know my daughter is a little anxious about starting, and not being able to know about the building is stressing her out.
Yeah, the high school administration is planning that orientation as we speak.
Okay, great. And it'll be by the last name and social distance, like the breakup of the at-home, the hybrid. Will it be broken up like that?
What do you think?
I know that the high school administration, the principal, they will be sending, it'll be by last name. You will be giving a slot in terms of a time to come in. They will meet with a counselor as well as, meeting other people in the building so that they start to feel comfortable before coming in September.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for being with us. Who's up next? Luis?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we see you, Luis.
Okay, yes. My son is going to West Elementary School. He's going to the 3rd grade. And I'm just concerned about, I know there's going to be some classes in the school and some distant learning.
Yes.
So when he does go to in the classroom, I want to know how the teachers are managing, like, to keep the kids safe, how distant they're going to be, how often they're going to have to wash their hands, or how they're going to deal with because I know kids, they touch everything. So I just wanted to know how the teacher's plan is to handle that so to keep the kids safe.
Yeah, and that's an excellent question, and one that I'm glad that you're asking, because we believe that our plan is only going to be as good as what the basics are that we are requiring. For our students to be socially distanced by 6 feet, that was your first question. Masks are mandatory at this point going forward, and there'll be ample opportunities, especially on the elementary level, where we have more sinks available in our classrooms for our elementary students to be routinely washing their hands. Because we believe that if that happens with the social distancing and the mask and good communication with parents at home, that we can really beat this thing. So we're committed to the social distancing piece, washing hands on a regular basis, and doing what we need to do to make our plan work.
Okay, that's good.
Appreciate your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Next up, I think, is Lori. Are you there with us, Lori? Lori, are you there with us? Is there anybody there with us? Come on, don't be shy. Somebody's there. We can hear you breathing. Yeah. Jennifer, I think you're up next. Are you there with us?
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. Hi, Dr. Lonigan. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you doing tonight?
Good, thank you. Just to let you know, I had some difficulty. I was not able to unmute myself, so I don't know if some other parents are having the same issue.
Okay. You know, we have close to 1,000, if not more, people on here, and I'm sure that the Zoom folks are watching as well. But we're hoping to get to as many people as we can. So, what do you got, Jennifer?
I think my question may have been addressed earlier. My question was regarding the laptop or Chromebook distribution, if that would be available to all children. I believe that was addressed already, though.
Yeah, we're in the inventory process right now, and when we know exactly what we have available, like we did last year, we're going to make them available to our families, without a doubt.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're
Thank
welcome. Take good care. Thank you for being here. 300 and stop now. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Who's up next? Is that Michelle? Hello, Michelle. Michelle. She unmuted?
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
We got you. How are you?
All right, great. I think you kind of answered this already, but is there air conditioning available in every school?
Is there what? No, not in every school in the district, Michelle, there is not. We have it available in the middle school and some other places in the high school. And we do have certain rooms in each one of our elementary school, the great rooms that are air conditioned, but the majority of our classrooms are not.
They're not. Okay, so the kids are required to wear their masks while they're sitting at their desk all day, correct?
Yeah, that's our plan going into the beginning of the school year. And as we mentioned to the mom a couple of conversations before, our plan is to have liberal mask breaks with our students given by the teachers because we're very confident on the social distancing within each one of our classrooms to be able to do that whenever necessary, especially in the beginning of the year when it's warmer.
Okay. All right, those were my questions.
Anytime, you know where we are.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. I think Christine is in the waiting room. Are you with us, Christine?
I am.
Hey, how
Hi
are you?
there.
Good to see you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having this time to ask questions.
Without a doubt. Take your time. What you got?
Okay, so far 2 of my 3 questions were answered. Thank you. And this one might be a little tough. Is there a plan for going back full time? And do you know yet what that criteria is going to be?
Christine, you know, I mean, if we could do this on September 8th, we'd be bringing everybody back on September 8th. So you're thinking the way we are. And that's going to be something that we're going to have to take week by week and month by month. But let me tell you, as soon as we start to see the sky clear and we start to get an opportunity to be able to do that and some direction from Albany and our governor, we will do it. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that this is going to help us get to that point at some junction. But I can't tell you if that's going to be a definite for this year or not. But we're hoping that it may be.
Because how was Shore and Wading River able to go back full time immediately?
Yeah.
Like, what is the difference between the 2 schools?
Yeah, there's a big difference for us, especially our size. And as we took a look at, we spent from last April until the middle of July looking at our physical plant and what would be the safest for our children. The mask wearing as well. I'm not too sure what the numbers are up at Shore and Wading River, but for us to be able to do half of our students on a daily basis makes us feel much more comfortable and safe to be able to do that rather than all of them in one classroom. Because our numbers, I don't know what their class numbers are at Shore and Wading River. For us, we're in the mid-20s, and we're very comfortable right now with what we can do to social distance our children with 12 to 15 in the classroom.
Right, but like if the governor gave the go-ahead to go back full time, we could say do that in November or January or?
Hard to say, but if we get information during the course of this school year that's looking good, we probably would get that way before the governor would come out on a particular day and say you can open on Monday. So keep in tune, and we will let you know what we get to know. And if that plan for reopening all of our kids to come back, I mean, that's exactly what we want. But I don't know if it's going to happen this month or next month or January or February until we see how things go. But that's our goal, without a doubt.
All righty, good to hear. Thank you.
Pleasure. You take care. Did I do that one right? Who's up next? Michael, are you there?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm using my husband's cell phone. I'm Nicole.
Oh, you tried to trick us.
Yes, I did. Thank you for taking my question. It's kind of silly to ask, but I figured I'd ask anyway. In terms of the Chromebooks, I know that you have to put in a request, but is it all possible for families to purchase a Chromebook at maybe a discounted rate through the school district instead of if we don't make the cut
Okay, it's a very good question. Do we have any ever asked that?
I don't think that we do at this time, but we can certainly look at that and see if we can have an arrangement with one of the vendors that we have.
Oh, that would be great.
So Mrs. N, I want you to stay in touch with me on that question, okay?
Okay.
You know me and you know my telephone number or my email address. So just touch base with me this time next week and we'll let you know what we come up with on that, okay?
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome. And say hi to Michael.
All right, we'll do.
Back his phone.
All right.
I think we see Thelma is out there somewhere. So when you're ready, Thelma, come on in.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
Good, thank you.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good. Who's that good-looking guy standing next to you?
My name is Edgar Pereira.
Oh, you go to our high school?
No, actually, I don't.
So they answered my question about the Chromebook, but I also wanted to add in more on Mrs. Engel. Aside from just doing work on the computer, shouldn't the students have actual paperwork to work on so that they can better their penmanship probably? I mean, I have a 6-year-old who could barely write, and the work that they were doing last year, I mean, some of the work was just, I don't even think she learned anything. They were doing scavenger hunts. I mean, what's the purpose of learning that? And my second question is, if they go to the school, is it a regular school day, 9 to 3:30 day?
Yes, it is. So the 2 days in school is a regular day, regular schedule. And your point that you're bringing up with regards to writing assignments and doing what students would traditionally do when they're in school is very important to us. You will see a difference in the assignments that are coming down during the time that your children are not in school. So we're working on that, and thank you for that. We'll make sure that that's part of our conversation going into the next 2 weeks. That's a really, really important, very important question. Thank you for that.
Yes, because I mean, they were doing schooling for what, 3 months or so, and
Yes.
I have 2 daughters, second and first grade at the time, and they weren't giving any type of like spelling tests or math tests. I mean, I did stuff on my own, but I mean, I think it's important that, you know, children are giving some sort of exam.
Yeah, more than important. Absolutely correct. We hear you loud and clear.
With regards to the schoolwork that they're being sent, is it going to be the equivalent time frame that they will be in school as well?
No, there may be some flexibility because it won't be a constant feed of students at home watching what's going on in the classroom. Most of our teachers will be able to assign work for a period of time when the students are at home, then log back with them at a certain time going forward. So it'll be a little bit of a mix between doing work online with our teachers, given assignments and tasks to do, possibly in small group work with our students together, and then logging back on at a later date in the day in connecting with our teachers. That's a framework of what we're hoping to see in most of our classes.
Right.
But you will see more contact with your teachers, with your children this year than what we did last year. No doubt about it.
Yeah, because I feel like this year, the remaining of the school year was just pretty much like up for grabs, finding out what solution would be best. And considering the fact that they were only sending schoolwork through the virtual, my kids will be done within an hour of the
Yes.
school that they got done when they're in school
Yes.
for 6 hours. And I'm just trying to figure out what's going to be the equivalent amount of them being home to being in school.
Yeah, we heard you guys loud and clear when our parents filled out the survey this past spring with regards to distance learning. So we're very sensitive to what you just said, and you will see that difference this year. You will.
All right.
Okay, great.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
You know where we are. You got questions, you know where we are.
Definitely. Thank you guys. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
That's you. Anytime. Next up is, I think, Lisa. So when you're ready, Lisa, we're here.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, sorry, it wouldn't let me unmute right away.
Okay, take your time.
Okay, my name's Lisa Eddy. I have a child going into 5th and a child going into 8th. So I have a few questions. So basically you're saying I'm doing hybrid for both my children. So you're saying the days that they're home doing distance learning, they're going to be required to be on the computer basically the entire school day?
Probably not the entire school day when they're at home. Teachers will be working with them at different times during the course of the school day. They may start their school day off together with their classroom and with the children who are at home. There may be assignments that are given to the students in the class versus the students who are at home. There'll be a log out period and then a log back in period. But that should happen on a daily basis with each one of our classes with our teachers, which was not the case last year.
Okay, so in that case, each student basically needs to have their own computer to do their work all day long.
Well, it may depend upon what assignments are being done at a certain point. I guess under the best of circumstances, yes, that would be quite helpful.
Okay, and the fact that obviously it's a very big district and they can't have devices for everyone. So now, as part of school supplies, we're supposed to go out and buy laptops for all our kids, because like the end of last year, I mean, I can afford to do it, but it's kind of ridiculous that we're being forced to do this. Like, do I want to drop $600 right now on 2 Chromebooks? Because no, it's not fair. Like, I understand the situation, but it's a lot to ask, especially for a lot of families who can't afford to do that.
So right now we are again putting together our inventory of Chromebooks that we do have. So Mrs. Eddy, that you may want to participate in that request. And if we can help you out with what we do have in inventory going forward, we certainly will try. Maybe it'll cut down on buying 2, something along those lines.
All right. I have another question too.
Sure.
So my oldest has an IEP, and I actually pushed his CSE meeting last year till the end of the year. So I did it virtually. And, you know, went on as every CSE meeting usually goes on. And, you know, I got all the accommodations that he usually gets. But I did ask the question that if in September we went back to virtual learning in any part, would there be accommodations put in to his IEP just in case we went back? And they told me, don't worry about it. We're looking to get back full time, which obviously is not the case.
Right.
And now I have a child who basically cannot sit in front of a computer that long. There is no way. It was absolute torture, crying, horrible, heart-wrenching situation every single day. So if we have to do that 3 days a week, and I'm forcing him to sit in front of a computer, he might as well just quit school. It's
Okay,
that bad.
so let's hope that doesn't get that way. But a couple of things. Number one, for you and for other parents who are watching right now, we want to help you with your individual needs for your child. The best thing that we don't want to do, though, here in this forum is talk specifically about students with disabilities because of the Privacy Act that's there. So.
Right, which is why I didn't say why he has an IEP, but I'm saying there is no way.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine, Lisa. This is what you need to do. Mrs. McCarthy is watching this evening as well, and you're going to reach out to her as soon as you can with regards to your child's special needs and what was set up in his IEP last year. And she is going to work with you to try to accommodate your situation as best as possible. We'll try to help you out with Chromebooks if we can get to that point. We're going to try to help you the best we can. And we understand the frustration, no doubt about it.
And Mrs. McCarthy is in the special education office to call her?
She is. She's the director of special education here.
Okay.
You need to get to know her well and open your dialogue with her early, along with your classroom teacher for your son before the school year starts. We very much welcome that.
Well, the classroom teacher, we don't get until like 2 days before school starts, so I don't understand how that would work, but.
Yes, beginning of the school year, yep.
Yeah, so, all right.
Okay?
Yep, thank you.
You know where we are. Good luck, all right?
Yep, thanks.
You bet. We have the Hernandez family up somewhere with us here. You guys there?
Hi.
There you go.
I'm Jacqueline.
Nice to meet you.
Jacqueline Hernandez. I just had a quick question. Okay, so I know that the kids are doing mask all day, And my daughter, she has like a breathing problem.
Yes.
Like she's like her nostrils are not big enough, so they had to like put a probe in. It was like a slight surgery. So her wearing a mask all day, that's not gonna happen. Like she'll have difficulty breathing. How are you gonna manage doing the whole mask and distance learning with people like my daughter that would have problems breathing or asthma or stuff like that? Or do we just have to like take them out?
Absolutely, very important question. Just like the parent before you, this is a special needs situation with your child, and you need to work closely with your family doctor, with the pediatrician, on what can and cannot happen with regards to this when your child comes to school. We will work closely with you in our building, with our nurse and our administration there, because we do have exemptions on wearing the mask for children who may have difficulties with health issues. So I'm going to urge you to please speak with your doctor, find out what's going to work best for your child and for you and for your doctor to communicate with our school, and we can work with you on the mask.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, we got an hour and 5 minutes left. We're doing pretty well, folks. So it looks like Beth is up next.
Hi.
Hello, Beth.
Hello. I have a question about the full distance learning. Will the children be getting an email from the district as to who their teacher is with their Google Classroom? Like, how will we know who to access for day one, since the distance learning is obviously going to start the first day of school? So how do we know who to access?
So our goal is to follow our student schedule with the same teacher, whether they are on the hybrid model or they are on the distance learning. So you should be receiving, along with the students who are in the hybrid model for starting school, around the same time, the name of your teacher. And we're trying to keep this as same as it is for everybody, whether you're in the hybrid or whether you're in the distance learning. So you'll know that before school begins, just like everybody else.
Okay. So it will be like our normal paperwork and there'll just be additional information in there.
Trying to keep this as normal as possible, Beth. You got it.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Thanks for being with us. I think Renee is next up.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Okay, Renee, how are you tonight?
I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. All right, I have a couple of questions, and they're totally off topic. The first one is, are we going to be continuing the Bannon Orchestra program for this year? I have a fourth grader going into fourth grade, and I have a seventh grader going in. So haven't heard any news on that one.
Okay.
So the goal is to keep the programs as they are with the limitations that we have. So if your child is in the hybrid model, they will be in school 2 days of the week, and they will have their performing arts of band or orchestra. And even if they're in distance learning, our teachers have been able to do the virtual lessons with those students. So that will all stay as is.
All right, great. That's good to know. So happy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My other question was, for students that are going to get common colds, or like my daughter will run a temperature because her tooth is coming in. You know what I mean? Are we going to have to go get COVID testing and get clearance to come back to school in the case they are running a fever?
I think as much as possible, we would recommend you work with your medical doctor.
Okay.
Because, the health and safety is the most important thing, all right? We're not testing students, but we would say just make sure you keep in touch with your medical doctor, because you do understand flu season is going to come. How do we differentiate, one from the other, so I would say as much communication as you can have with your medical doctor, I think is the most important piece for us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I never send my kid to school sick, but you never know. They just get a temperature in the middle of the day.
No, you're absolutely correct.
Okay. All right. And the last, and this is probably really quick, are we going to be getting like a revised supply list for school? Because I mean, I go out every year and spend a couple $100 on school supplies, and I don't really think we're going to need all that this year. So are they going to be sending that out soon?
We have been, it's a good question, and we think about what supplies will students need, such as a backpack that may hold a Chromebook in there, you know, with the sleeve. We have been so, I guess, absorbed with planning for safety that the supply list might not have been something we touched base. But we will be talking with the administration and we'll be reviewing that list quickly.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's fine. I mean, just, I would think just basic stuff for now would be good, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think
Right.
it's going to be abbreviated, Renee. That's correct.
All right, cool. All right, thanks, guys.
Anytime.
Thanks for having these. This is great.
Yeah, anytime at all. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening. We have a name Curry in front of us here.
Hi, I'm Nicole Curry. How are you tonight?
Nicole, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having this. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Great to have you.
Hi, Dr. Denton. How are you? I actually had a question about the orchestra to see if they were going to, if the students who are doing full distance learning, if they were going to be able to still participate in that, because my son was in middle school last year and Ms. Steffens actually did a good job with the virtual and still continuing that. So I wanted to know if that was going to continue in junior high.
Yes, it's going to continue. The programs will continue as they did any other year. They will look different, but there will be virtual lessons on the days the students are home.
Wonderful. And like the previous call, I was very happy to hear that. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. You take care now.
Okay, and one more question, please.
Sure.
The other thing is the ventilation system, and again, if you've answered this already, I apologize for repeating, but how are we handling the ventilation system within the school, like the heating and AC? Some areas have AC. How are we handling that?
We're changing.
Is it going to be upgraded?
No, they're not going to be upgraded. What we do is we maintain them. We change the filters, we clean the coils, and that's, you know, that's already been done this summer.
Okay, wonderful. And what about the areas in which we're not able to do any social distancing, like in the front desk or whatever? Is there plexiglass or anything being put up, or?
We're hoping that because of the number of students that we have and staff in it at a particular time, that we're going to be able to do that with social distancing, but that's going to require everybody's cooperation and help with us. But we have the room with our hybrid model, and we're trying to be confident that we're going to be okay with that. Along with wearing a mask, along with washing hands on a regular basis. We're really pushing the basics on this because we feel that's the most important part of keeping our community healthy. So lots of hand washing, lots of social distancing, and a mask as much as possible.
Okay, on behalf of my husband and myself, thank you for answering our questions.
You betcha, anytime. You know where we are if you need us.
Yes, I do.
Cool. Take care. Looks like we have Emily up next. So when you're ready, Emily.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. I just had a question on if a teacher or a student tested positive for the virus. Now, how does that work? Is it just that class that's shut down, or is it going to be the building?
I think, yeah, great question. You know, we're going to work with the Department of Health. They're going to guide us as far as that process. We're going to support them as much as possible with the contact tracing piece. But the plan is to work with them as much as possible, and they will support us and letting us know, apart from what they observe or from the information that they receive, they will let us know if we're going to close a classroom down, if we're going to close a school down. They will support us on that piece going forward. So those decisions will be made in conjunction with the Department of Health.
There are very strict protocols, Emily, with regard to this that we agree with, by the way. As soon as there is a confirmed case, it sets forth a series of steps that are very precise and take care of the folks who may or may not have been in contact potentially with somebody who has been diagnosed officially with COVID.
Okay, and my next question, for the high school students, will they be switching classes or are they staying in the one class and the teacher is changing?
So at the high school, because everybody is, they will be moving from class to class and they will be following their schedule. And they will keep social distancing and their masks on and wash their hands
Or hand
sanitizer.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome, Emily. Have a good evening. So we have Diane up next. Hello, Mrs. H. Are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing tonight?
Good. Actually, I have a couple of questions, but some might have been answered. One is for probably Mr. Parada. How are you?
How you doing?
Are the schools still going to do the lockdown drills, and how are they going to do that with social distancing?
Each school is still going to continue to do the mandated evacuation and lockdown drills as prescribed by the law. And we're working through some plans right now where we're going to be staggering accordingly and a few other methods, that I can't obviously discuss publicly to maintain safety, but to make sure all students receive the proper drill training.
Okay, thank you. And also, just to touch upon the question about the filters, I know you said you changed them out. Are the schools using the high efficiency HEPA filters, the ones that the governor had recommended for the malls to be using?
Good question.
We use what is recommended on the units. Not all units can use HEPA filters. That's not the design of the unit. We're using what's recommended for the unit itself.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a nice night.
You do. You take care now.
Thank you.
Okay. I got the Stack family up next. Who's talking for you guys?
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Sack. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think my question was answered as far as what's the protocol should an outbreak occur. Will the students who are hybrid, will they have a smooth transition into going full online? Should they have to be a quarantine? I don't know if you can answer that. And
Sure.
also, are you able to tell us, and according to the surveys or the feedback you receive from parents, what are the majority of parents doing? Because we're torn. Are they doing online or are they preferring hybrid?
So as you know, we had a survey that went out a week or so ago, and we had a fairly good response from our parents who did fill out the survey. Maybe around 50%, which 50% on a return for a survey is pretty good. You can make certain decisions based upon that. So we felt good about it. And at last, our numbers were pretty well 67%. This was as of August 11th. 67% of our parents were in favor of the hybrid program, and 33% were in favor at that time of distance learning.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you for everything that you're doing to try to make this go by smoothly for all of us.
We're in this one together, and you guys have been absolutely super with your questions and with your recommendations. So let's stay in touch.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
You bet. And we see that Heather is up next. How are you, Heather?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Thank you guys for doing this. I just have a couple of questions because I have a child going into 7th grade as well as one going into 9th grade. And I understand that they're going to be switching classes. Are the desks going to be disinfected in between?
So that's a popular question. Our maintenance schedule in the high school with regard to cleaning desks after each class is a little bit limited. It kind of goes back to what we were saying before, that we're really trying to stress when our students are here in school that they're following the basics, as well as our staff. Lots of hand washing, masks on, social distancing all of the time, and when possible, have areas disinfected. But there's a big but, and the guidance that we're receiving, and Mr. Harding can probably reiterate this, is to clean a desk after every use is not healthy either. Even though our chemicals that we're using are considered green chemicals and safe, we're being very careful not to do that every single. It would be almost like sitting at your kitchen table with Clorox every time you sat down.
Right.
So we have to balance that. We have to
Okay.
balance what's going on in the classroom at any given time and the use of those chemicals when necessary.
Okay, that makes sense. It's, you know, I have a child who's in the ALT program in Ridge, and he licks his hands. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't want him constantly licking something that has a chemical. So
Exactly, yes.
I understand.
Our point.
May I ask you another question?
Of course you can.
In regards, I know you're saying that they're going to be socially distanced in the halls while switching. How are you going to navigate that? Because I've been in the junior high. I know it's going to be at a lesser capacity, but I've been stuck in the junior high in between classes, and it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah, and we're hoping that going from 1,400 to 700, and with everybody on board, this is our teachers, our students, and it's going to be stressed from day one that we're back here together, and we want to be close, and we want to do all the great things in school together, but we have to be making sure that our kids are appropriately distant, washing their hands, wearing their masks, and I believe if we can all do this together, I think we're going to be okay. So yeah, there's going to be challenges, no doubt about it.
And will they be changing for gym? And are they going to be like, you know, able to, you know, it's kind of hard to keep an accurate social distance inside of a locker room because teachers aren't going to be in there. So I'm just curious how that's going to be navigated.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's something that we are going to continue to look into.
Okay.
So that's the second time I couldn't answer a question tonight, Heather. So you know where I am and you have my email. So you email me next week and remind me of that and I'll get an answer to you, okay? 'Cause
Okay,
we're
thank you.
right in the middle of doing those things as we speak this week.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, super questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Have a nice night, everybody.
You too. You take care now.
Thank you.
And we got Craig in the green room, ready to come out and perform. Mr. Sweeney, you there?
Hi, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
So I have a couple of questions for you. The first one was about the air filtration, and it may seem kind of silly, but it seems to be very important, right? Malls had to stand up to a very specific standard to open. And I know Longwood is packed, like the lady before me said, in the hallways. How is it possible to have that many kids in a school without the same type of filtration that the malls were required to have to open, where people that are going into a mall are there far less than our kids? I guess that's like kind of the first question. And then back to the second thing that you were talking about as well, about the cleaning. I don't really think you can clean enough. You kind of frightened me when you said that you're gonna do your best. You should be cleaning all the time, after every class. If a kid switches classrooms should get cleaned. Why would that not even be a standard? Because the kid that goes in high school, that's in French class, that's before my son that sits in that seat, you don't know if he's sick, right? And if you're not taking that same care for the kids that are switching the classrooms, like how could you possibly reopen? Like, how do you see that as a possibility? Because it's an immediate spread.
And
So
also,
your
how do you?
All right. So your first question.
I hit you off with a couple heavy ones, so I'll let you have at it.
No problem. So with regard to your filtration question, Steve, maybe you can address that?
Yeah, we're talking two different systems that the mall has versus what a standard classroom has. A standard classroom has a univent, but that exchanges the air 4 to 5 times each hour. So we're bringing in a lot of fresh air. We're exchanging that air. That's how we're keeping that air moving. So that's what our system does. We don't have the same system as a mall has, which is a central system.
No, I totally understand.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and as far as exchanging it, but I just, so you're not doing anything different than last year. And
Well,
I don't mind, I don't mean to, when it comes to.
Yeah, it's 1.5 million square feet of building. To change that overnight would be, that would be really a monumental.
I don't think.
step. Yeah.
I don't think I wasn't saying to change it overnight. I'm just trying to figure out if we're doing anything different, Or
We're running
if
the exhaust all the time too, so we're exchanging, we're venting the whole building as much as we can.
right. And it seems like we're kind of hoping that the kids are maintaining social distancing, high schoolers. I can't imagine that. And we're hoping that they keep maintaining washing their hands as like a majority part of the protocol. It seems like the onus is going to be more on the kids to make sure things are going right, and that scares me. So back to my question about classrooms and cleanings, what is the actual protocol and the procedures to make sure that those classrooms are clean, especially in the high school, and not the elementary school, because the kids are standard and staying in that classroom, but kids that are moving between classrooms, how are you maintaining the cleanliness of those classrooms from when one kid is sitting in a seat and another kid is going to another seat and he's sitting in that and he's right there? Like, how are you maintaining that? And then how are you maintaining the distance between the seats itself? Like, those are like important questions that haven't even been addressed in the first hour of this Zoom meeting. And those are probably the most important questions that I think have been asked right now. How are we maintaining social distancing with the kids? And how are we keeping those classrooms clean in between classes where kids are moving back and forth?
So the social distancing piece, we believe we're pretty secure with at this point, Mr. Sweeney. Half the amount of children, I got to be able to finish, right?
No, I'm with you.
Okay, so we have half the amount of our children in our buildings and half the amount of children in our classrooms. We have configured them so that social distancing will be appropriate. We're way within the guidelines that have been suggested by the CDC and the DOH. But I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to try to tell you tonight that we're going to be able to put staffing in each one of our classrooms and be able to clean every one of those desks in between every classroom. We're just not going to be able to do that. Where possible.
And I'm worried about the teachers as well. It's not just the students, mind you. I'm also worried about the teachers and the faculty as well.
Yep,
because
as we are too. That's why we need everybody's cooperation and our parents and our students and our faculty with regards to good hygiene and wearing their mask and working with us on the social distancing. And we're going to try our best. We're going to try our very best. But I'm not going to lie to you and say, don't worry about it. We have 5,000 custodians that are going to take care of 8,000 desks in our high school every 40 minutes. Just can't do that. So I'm trying to be honest with you.
All right, something.
Appreciate that.
It's gonna be a big thing to try to figure out if kids are gonna have to, if it's a good idea to have them go to school.
That is correct as well.
You know what I mean?
Yep. We're hoping.
I mean, are you recommending kids do the distance learning?
That's a decision. We're recommending the hybrid model. That's what we believe, together with everything that we've been talking about for the past hour, is going to be the best bet in keeping all of our staff and our students safe. We have offered the opportunity for parents who have asked, and that's really an individual family choice as to whether their kids come to school this year or they remain home on distance learning. We're okay with either one. We would wish the first or second question that we had earlier on tonight, I would love to be able to say to everybody, hey, here it is. We got the research, we got the answer, and October 1st, everybody comes to school. I'd love to be able to say that. But this is going to be a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. We're making progress as a state. Maybe we'll see something change in the springtime. We'll keep you informed. And you know where we are.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And I appreciate the tough questions. You ask them anytime, all right? And we got Vicki Williams up next.
Hi everyone, I'm Vicki Williams. I have a second grader at Ridge Elementary. Many of my questions have been answered or are partly answered, so I'm going to have to ask some follow-up questions.
Okay,
so the first one about the ventilation. Now I know in the past, and I hear what you're saying about the filters. I know in the past, because of safety, schools have to keep windows and doors closed. So now with this, I know in the school district that I work in, one of the things that we're doing is allowing doors and windows open. Is that something you guys have considered?
Stevie, what do you got?
Like classroom?
Yeah, because of some security issues, yeah, well, I'm going to be working with our school safety director and seeing what we could do with that.
Okay.
You know, we have, you may be hearing from, I don't know where you're working or other school districts. they become a little bit too liberal with regards to keeping ground level windows open. We have pretty strict safety protocols here in our district, and we understand the conflict, right? You can't open the window halfway up.
Right. I mean,
of
our windows don't open much to begin with, but really the doors, usually we had to keep the doors closed, in case there was an active shooter, things like that. So now we're allowed to keep them open.
Those accommodations are workable, of course, yes.
Okay. Just a question. Also about the Chromebook. So in the spring, I was home, we have a few devices. I didn't sign up for a Chromebook, but now that since I'll be back at work, my husband's at work, so my child will be traveling, will now need a device. I will be reaching out to the principal, but my question is, do you have a plan in the near future to maybe go one-to-one devices? Because obviously, like in the current times, it looks like we need them. And I hear a lot of parents also asking for a device. And if you have multiple children, it's hard. So I'm just wondering, I understand today you don't have one-to-one, but will you is it a plan or is it going to be a priority?
It is a plan. We got the plan.
Right, so we've been working with our Smart Schools Bond, New York State Smart Schools Bond. And the plan for that bond is to increase technology throughout the district. So we do have a plan in place. We do have a technology committee in our district where the plan right now, where we are, our 5th grade students will be going to a one-to-one environment. Our 9th grade students will be going to a one-to-one environment. So the plan is to move from year to year to increase that across the district. Hopefully kindergarten through 4th grade, we can increase the Chromebook carts that they have on that level as well. So the goal right now is to continue to increase that, but with that process, there's an application process and there's a committee. They have to approve our portion of that. So, we do have a plan in place to increase, but it's a slow process, but one we've taken on for a couple of years now.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Now, you just mentioned about the Chromebook carts in the classroom, so that has me thinking, are there still Chromebooks will be available in school for the children who are in person? Like if a teacher wanted to use that, like, are you renting out all the Chromebooks you have in inventory? Or are you still keeping some in the school?
So right now we do have a few left. We have to do an inventory on what we have left. To be honest with you, when this happened in March, our goal was to try to support families as much as possible, right? So we had to break down a few of those carts to support our families. That was the most important piece at that time. So once we review our inventory, we'll take a look again and to see how many Chromebook cards we can reestablish. We may be able to do that, or we may be able to just push Chromebooks out to our families. So right now, more to come on that, but we're in the process of inventorying to see if that's something we could possibly do.
Okay, I appreciate that. My next question is about the supply list, and I understand that it hasn't been a high priority. I'm on committees as well, and it hasn't been something we've talked about either. But I'm wondering, obviously children won't be sharing, and usually suppliers are communities. So if we could get those lists out, and also what kind of materials will we need to have at home? So, I want to have something at home for them and also something in school. So any kind of recommendations from teachers about that would be helpful.
Mm-hmm. That'll be happening. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And then also about materials going back and forth. I know someone said earlier about, backpack, a Chromebook might need to go in the backpack, so it goes to and from school. But will children also be required to keep, in the event that maybe we do pivot to remote learning, like will everything they need at home be at home with them that day? Like in March, it wasn't. It was like surprise, right? So we didn't have everything. We didn't have their notebooks or their math books or whatever, or their, magnet letters or whiteboards, whatever. Are things going to go back and forth with children?
Yes, because you're talking about now students that are on total distance learning or the hybrid model?
I'm talking about the child who does hybrid, so it goes back and forth. But
Without a doubt,
it is a question for the children who will be home all the time too. Will they have their stuff?
Yes, they will.
Okay. And then sanitizing the bus. I know someone asked the bus question about temperatures before, but are they sanitizing and wiping down between every run?
Yes, they are.
Okay, thank you. That's
You're
good.
welcome.
That's good news to hear because that's not the case by me.
Okay,
And
Mr. Williams, you're asking a lot of questions. We don't have a lot of time, so one more to go, and then we're going to move on. Okay.
Okay, one more.
Yep.
So I appreciate the fact that we are trying to make it more virtual, more videos and all that. But what will Wednesday look like? So obviously, a teacher can't meet in small group with their child, with their home students when they have live students in front of them. But will Wednesday be more like a differentiated time? And how many hours do I need to tell my mother that she has to have my son on the computer all day? Like, what is that going to look like for people?
So we are working with the teachers, collaborating with the teachers in terms of what the models will look like and what will Wednesday be. Okay. Wednesday is a regular day. What that looks like, it could be differentiated for small groups for that teacher. So students will have a schedule. So I think that's what you're looking for, a schedule. Yeah. And
I want to be able to hand my mother or my mother-in-law,
of course,
what time. I have a 7-year-old. I can't put them on by himself. So, something concrete. That way I don't have to do it when I get home.
That's what we're looking to do. And the teachers are part of those conversations.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mrs. Williams, you take good care, and thanks for all the questions, okay?
Yeah.
We hope we help you. Have a good evening. So we have Allison up next. There she is.
Hello, how are you?
Good, Allison. How are you doing tonight?
Good. I have a 3rd grader in Ridge, and I have a 6th grader at the middle school. And one of the things I was wondering is we're going to be doing the hybrid program, and you said that the teacher would be videotaped so those at home could follow along. Is that correct? Streaming or?
So what we're still looking to see what that model looks like. But there will be a live interaction with the teacher and the students that are at home during that day.
Not while class is going on, because I was worried about my child's privacy and how you're going to keep them off the video and just have the teacher.
Students who are in class, in terms of privacy, the camera would only be on the teacher.
Okay.
And the teacher would only use first names of students.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Disciplinary actions. What are you going to do for someone who refuses to wear a mask?
So we had that long conversation with our administrators today. We just went through a very, very successful summer program with more than 90 of our students throughout the district. We never had, for the summer anyway, we never had one issue with our students not cooperating with us in wearing their masks or social distancing. It was a great microcosm, which we're hoping we're going to experience with all our students. But I made it clear to the administrators today that this is very different. And wearing a mask is not going to be easy for everybody. And students are not going to be hammered for not wearing a mask. They're going to be counseled by administration, by teachers, and by their peers to say, we're in this together. We have to take care of one another. And this is a very important part of the initial process. So we want to try to work with our students who may be having difficulty doing this without saying you're suspended for 3 months and get out of here. I'm not doing it. So at the same time, there comes a point where discipline for any student comes into play here. It could be with masks, but not without a lot of conversation up front to get our students to understand how important this is for their health and the health of everybody that they're in school with this year.
Okay. Also in the middle school, usually the students have a switching teacher and they go switch classrooms. Are they going to remain in their classroom and the teacher is going to switch? Is that the plan? And are they eating lunch in their classrooms? I just wasn't sure how the middle school was going to work. We already have the half walls, which is a problem.
So in terms of the classroom, the teachers are teamed. So the teachers will be moving. In terms of phys ed, the goal is for them to move to phys ed.
Okay.
And in terms of the lunch, it's the cafeteria.
Okay.
They're making sure that students are socially distant.
Okay. And then last real quick, there was a post today on the Facebook page saying if you do have a laptop that they would like it back. So my children are going to be hybrid. How are they supposed to learn if I'm returning the one that I have that I'm already sharing between 2 students?
That's news to us, Allison. Yeah, I'm not too sure where that came from.
It said it along with, for fifth graders who are returning. And then it also talked about the yearbook. It was all one big, yearbooks were in, it was one big post.
So if the, so we're moving to a one-to-one initiative, especially for our incoming fifth graders and for our incoming ninth graders. So if they received a Chromebook last year, say for instance in the fourth grade, or if they received one in the eighth grade last year, we're asking them for them to return those.
Okay.
They will be getting a new one because the fifth and ninth grade will be our one-to-one initiative. Those are great.
My daughter's going to 6. She can hold on to it for now.
I think so, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good deal. Thank you. Take good care. Okay, we got about 30 minutes left, give or take a few moments, and we got still a bunch of folks. So folks, if we get to shortly after 9 o'clock and we didn't get to your questions, we're hoping to see you again tomorrow night or on Thursday morning. And certainly after that, the emails that we had put out there earlier will be there for you to continue to ask your questions. But again, I remind you, please check our website every day because we update the questions and the answers that may help you if we don't get through to you this evening or this week. Tara, you there?
Yeah, hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing great.
I think you basically just answered my question the lady before me just asked. I have an incoming 7th grader and a high school sophomore, and basically we're doing the hybrid, and I guess my question was like for my sophomore, if you know, his like first day of school, his first period is biology. Like, I guess just like how is he like, could he like sign on and like, will he be able to see like what's going on in class in real time?
So your child is doing the hybrid and is in distance learning at this time? So the first period, if your child is home because they're doing distance learning, that first period, there will be some type of interaction with that teacher, live interaction at that during that period 1.
Okay, yeah, because he's distance Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then he'll be in school Thursday and Friday. So
Gold cohort.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
And
that
then
first class is important for us, Mrs. Mooney, because attendance needs to be taken in every one of our classes on distance learning.
okay. So no sleeping in for him anymore.
Right, they're gonna keep their schedule.
No more getting up late. And then I guess the same thing would be with the junior high school.
Yes.
Like her first, she's going into 7th, and then like her first period, her homeroom, like same thing, just would have to like sign on and.
Yes. You know, so our questions here tonight, we wish we had the opportunity to be able to hold this next week or even into the week after that, even though it gets a little bit closer. But the good governor made this a requirement to happen this week before the 21st. But that doesn't mean that everybody who's on here tonight and who's possibly watching that's not going to be able to get through, all of these things are coming directly to you from your building principal over the next 2 weeks. You're going to be doing this. You're going to be hearing from him or her. You will be comfortable and you will know exactly what distance learning is all about in the junior high school and in the middle school before September 8th starts.
Okay. All righty. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Have a good.
You're the same. We see that Sophia is around. Are you floating out there in virtual land, Sophia? Anybody there? Okay. Next up. I see Tabitha just popped in. Are you there, Tabitha?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. Just a couple of questions I have. Some of them you touched on, and some of them I think I need a little bit more specific, if possible.
Okay.
One question I have is how many people in the classroom, not only students, but people. From my understanding, I think it was supposed to be 15 to 14 people, including aides and teachers. Is that correct?
That's the number that we're looking at, yes.
So each classroom, whether it be from elementary to high school, I have a first grader and I have a senior this year. So I want to make sure that not only the elementary school, but the high school is also going to have that many people in the classroom.
That's our plan. You know, some of our classrooms are smaller, some of them are larger, but that's the number that we're working at, yes.
Okay, and so in each classroom, each desk should be about 6 feet apart.
That is the goal. Social distancing, 6 feet apart with a mask, yes.
Okay, so I understand that that's the goal. So like looking at these pictures of the Georgia high school and their hallways, and understand that you are limiting the class size. So you're cutting your high school in half.
Yes.
But I know like the senior class, you have about 800 students. So that's about 1,600 students in the building. So how, besides the direction of the hallway, are you specifically planning to decrease social distancing? Or increase?
So we're hoping that each one of our principals will be connecting with you in the next week or so. And they're entertaining a virtual tour of our parents to be able to see exactly what it's going to look like in the hallways when our kids come back. We won't have the children there, but at least letting our families know what the plan is to encourage and to require the social distancing in that regard, yeah.
As well as the high school, as well as the classrooms in the high school as well?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And in regards to screening the students when they come into the building, you're planning on screening the students, correct?
Temperature screening?
Yes. So with the amount of students that are entering the building and the social distancing, you don't see any interruptions with the daily schedule?
According to our principals this morning, they got this. They can do this. It may interfere with the first couple of moments in the beginning of the school year, the school day, but with the reduced number of students in their buildings, they're confident. They're confident.
Okay,
and we're going to help them
excellent.
the best way we can with additional technology as well.
Okay, and with eating lunch, I know that you said that they're going to be in the cafeteria. This is primarily for, I guess, both the elementary. Is elementary using the cafeteria as well? Or are they eating lunch in their classrooms?
They're looking at alternatives. They're looking at what can be done because they don't have as much space as the other buildings. And we also have music. We don't want to take away programs, and music has to be 12 feet apart. So we're looking at possibly doing lunch in the classrooms on the elementary. At the high school, they've already taken out cafeteria tables and put in desks. So they know how many students can go in each of those cafeterias at the high school.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions.
I think our principals on the elementary want to try to give the kids the opportunity to have lunch in the cafeteria at different times, but I don't know what that rotation will look like. That was our conversation today. So in the classroom, maybe every 3 days, maybe once a week, something like that, they would rotate and be able to be in the cafeteria socially distanced. That was discussed today as well.
Thank you. And just one more question.
Go ahead.
Our students are allowed to wear face shields as opposed to the face mask?
No, face masks.
Face masks only?
Yes, unless there is a medical documentation or another documentation from a mental health worker or a physician that would say otherwise, then we would try to accommodate the best we can.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time.
See you soon. Jessica, are you there?
Hello, how is everybody this evening?
We're doing okay, Jessica. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. I have about 3 questions tonight. One is, what is the landscape of the PTA looking like this year?
The landscape of the PTA, you mean as far as meetings and things of that nature?
Do you think, is the PTA going to be functioning relatively normally, holding events?
They're going to be functioning. It's going to look different, like many of the other programs that we have, but I have a firm commitment that that they'll be functioning and helping us out. We can't do this without our PTA, of course.
Excellent. Great. Thank you for clearing that up. For parent drop-off, I assume that a lot of parents are going to want to take their children off of the buses and actually physically be dropping them off more so this year than in the past. Is there going to be an update to the process or procedure to streamline that so there's not traffic issues or issues with children kind of overflowing?
Yes, that design is currently being worked on now. That was part of our conversation with our administrators today. And they have plans on accommodating more drop-offs than we've had in the past. We're hoping, because we're confident in what's happening with our buses, that folks will be comfortable and send their children on our school buses, especially during the tough winter months when it's much more safe to be there. But yes, we are anticipating more of our parents and trying to come up with a plan that's going to be as safe as possible.
Great, thank you. And
actually, you're going to get a survey question. Mrs. Motto is telling me here right now, so that we can best gauge who is at this point anyway thinking about driving their children to school and or riding the bus. So we'll have some numbers to be able to work with.
That's great, thank you. With the winter months, and my daughter is going into first grade at Ridge, and we know in the past that they used cubbies and had their winter coats and scarves back to back. How are you going to be handling clothing and bulky items? Are you going to be hanging them on back of chairs, or what is that going to look like?
Yeah, so we're taking a lot of things out of our classrooms in order to be in compliance with the social distancing piece, and we're going to have to take a close look at where those coats and other personal effects are going to be with our kids. So that's yet to be decided.
Okay, and I know I said 3, but I have one last one. I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay.
I know that the hybrid model and the distance learning is up, still being developed, and you have already stated that there'll be live virtual sessions. Just curious, do you think teaching assistants or the live learning as well as the distance learning to keep that cohesiveness together?
Jessica, do that one more time because we lost you halfway through your question.
Okay. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can now, yes.
Okay, thank you. So you've already highlighted that the distance hybrid learning is being developed and that teachers are going to take a look at what that program is going to look like, and that there will be live sessions with the virtual students.
Yes.
So my question is, do you anticipate using teaching assistants or second teachers to assist with the virtual learning while the main teacher is doing the live lessons and unable to interact with some of the students, especially the younger ones who may need additional support?
Yeah, we have considered that with our TAs, and especially in classes where our TAs are present because of the requirement of the children in the classroom. So yes, anytime that we can use our TAs along with our teachers, of course, they have to be there. We are going to encourage that, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Anytime at all. We have Jason, are you there, my friend?
Yes, hi, good evening.
Hello, Jason, how are you?
Very good. I have a question. Sorry, I got on a little bit late at the beginning, and I'm not sure if it was covered already regarding
That's
the buses.
okay. Go ahead.
I did hear the previous question just a minute ago about the buses, but curious if you could share just what is the bus going to look like? Less kids on the bus, or how is it actually going to be formed?
Of course. I'm going to ask our Director of Transportation to answer that question.
Yes, with the green and gold cohorts, it will cut the size in half, the capacity is in half. So if you had a 44 passenger bus, we're looking at about 22 students on every bus.
With masks.
With masks.
With masks, okay. Windows open, closed?
Windows open if it's below, above 45 degrees per SED guidelines, all the windows will be open.
Okay, great. And yeah, I heard the question regarding the drop off. I think the survey question would be helpful to kind of gauge, the drop off specifically for the high school. I know the high school probably has more room to allow more cars to come in and leave from different exits because that drop off is very difficult, even on a normal school year.
Yes. Yeah, we were kind of excited the fact that half our kids would be in there and that 300 cars would not be available in the morning this year because of half the population. But we need to find out if parents are going to be upping that and driving the kids. So
Sure.
that's why the survey is going to help us. Yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much.
Anytime. You know where we are. Hello, Kimberly. You there with us?
Hi, I'm here.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, very good.
I pretty much all my questions were answered, and I have a feeling I'm going to have to speak to the principals. I
Okay.
have an incoming ninth grader with a 504, an
Okay.
incoming fifth grader with an IEP, and an
Okay.
incoming third grader with an 504. Being a single parent, to be honest, I hope there's just a lot of leniency. I'm doing hybrid, so they would go Monday, Tuesday, and then they'll be home Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yes.
I can only hope that there's a lot of leniency and understanding, because when I am at work, I have my elderly mom that is going to be with them, and my middle guy and my daughter, who's my youngest, will need help. And I know my mother's not going to be able to do it. And the days that they happen to be in home are the days that I'm actually working. I'm off on Monday and Tuesdays when they're actually in school. So I just have a lot of figuring out to do, because, you know, in regards to, like, if they have set times, if they have to be on certain times, certain days, it's just not going to happen. So, and I know I'm not the only parent with this. And, you know, 2 of my kids have compromised immune systems, and I'm sending them back because it's really the best thing to do for them, to keep them home with masks. It's not ideal. So, I mean, I do feel what some of the parents are saying, but I'm that type of parent that is just like, if you said you open 5 days, I'm sending them. So I guess I'll have to reach out to pretty much the principals of each building to pretty much get most of my answers, I would think. Am I correct?
Yes, and we're going to help you with that, Kimberly. Okay, so you're not alone on this one, and we hear you loud and clear. And you're right, you're not alone. You represent a good number of our parents who will be going through this. This is not easy for us all, especially for you guys. So our teachers, our administrators, our counselors, special ed department, we're all there for you. As long as you continue good communication with you, we're there. Okay.
Yeah, I will. And Mrs. Tully was actually the principal at CEW when my son attended. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So she knows
Okay.
you then. That's good.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening. We'll talk
You
soon
too.
again.
Okay.
And we have Sue.
Hi, how are you?
Good, Sue. How are you doing?
Good evening. Thank you. I'm doing well, thank you. I guess my question starts with just, did the district visit the idea of distance, the children who decide to stay home, having a dedicated distance learning teacher for those students?
That was that talked about in your task force? Not too much, no. You know, we tried to make this a priority that the classes would not be split, and that there would not be a dedicated teacher just to the students who are on distance learning versus the classroom teacher. We wanted them to be together. We wanted the communication to stay that. So that's been our first priority in putting together the district. We wanted our kids to be with their teacher when they're here in school versus being home. If this was all distance learning, if this is all distance learning, if it ever had to get that way, which we're hoping it's not, that would be a potential way of doing this.
I'm just thinking though, I just feel bad for the teachers. I mean, there's been a lot of people saying negative things about the teachers and what they did in March, but they were thrown right into it. So I'm figuring coming up this year as well, it's going to be kind of another level for them to have to teach live and virtual if there's not a TA in the classroom. And then the kids at home, how are they going to get the actual attention they need? And then the kids in the classroom, the attention they need. So the teachers, you know, they really need some praise as well.
You hear that? So our teachers hear that as well, Sue. It wasn't hard for us to get them to come in this summer and to plan out this, because they understand that. And they definitely want to be a part of making this a better experience. So I couldn't ask for any more than that. Keep your fingers crossed. I think we're going to be doing a good job. but we
Great,
need your
thank you.
feedback, okay?
Thank you so much.
We have Colette standing by. So when you're ready, Colette.
Hi, how are
Colette, if you can hear me, you're breaking up and we can't understand you at all right now. Sorry.
Okay, great. I just have a quick question. Most of my questions have been answered. I understand that their temperatures will be taken prior to entering the building, not before getting on the bus. So when they get to school, be at time. Oh.
Yes.
Okay, hold on.
We lost you, my friend. Okay.
You can stop right now. You're going overboard. Stop.
Is this Lindsay?
Oh, Mabel. Go ahead.
Right, I am.
Oh.
Okay, who are we talking to there, guys? We can't see you.
Fucking bullshit. Go
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey.
Mira, te voy a hablar ahora. Go ahead, Mabel.
Say bye-bye.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Is this Lindsay?
This is Mabel Otero. I'm Lindsay's friend.
Oh, okay.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening. What can we do for you?
Yes, I know you guys touch a subject. There were some questions asked about, I know that you're not going to have 100% in-person learning.
That's correct, yes.
After the first, right. However, I wanted to know, did you guys ever consider 100% in-person learning?
That's exactly, we would very much want all of our students here, absolutely. Given what the regulations are, the size of our buildings, and most important, the consideration for the safety of all our kids and staff. Our task force and our Board of Education made the decision that the hybrid model is going to be the safest program for all of our kids and staff. And that's why we didn't do the 100% in person.
Okay. Just another little small question. For the middle school, for the orientation, are you going to have that on the website?
Yes. Mrs. Kelly will be reaching out to all of our parents in the middle school with regard to what that will look like. Absolutely.
Okay, so I just want to make a statement. I know that some people on the Longwood Facebook, it's a very big, there's a very big crowd on there, and I know a lot of people are complaining that you guys weren't allowing more than 300 members tonight. The next couple nights, are you going to allow more than 300 members?
We had up to 1,000 this evening.
Oh, you did? All right. I thought, yeah, I was seeing some comments about only 300.
Yeah, no, we were up to 1,000, and I'm not too sure where we are. Do we have a number for tomorrow night?
Probably about 700.
That has gone down to about 700. So, and then we have Thursday morning. So we're hoping to get to the good majority of folks who are asking questions as we did tonight. But if we don't, we still have ample opportunity to be able to answer questions between now and June 30th of 2021. Anytime there's a question.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Good night. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. Yeah. We have about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so to go with a few more questions. So who's up next?
I'm not sure if I'm up.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so my question is regarding the online learning. Some schools have implemented teaching online live and having the teachers record live and being able to save the video after for people that are online that are not able to make it at that time. Would that be a possibility that you guys would consider?
We are looking at that possibility. We are working with our teachers this week and next week to come up with our plan in terms of how they're going to manage the instruction.
You will see a blend of what you just mentioned, no doubt about it.
Okay, because I'm just trying to figure out what would be something to prevent teachers from being able to do that. Just record their lesson live and having students that are at home at the same time learning as students that are in school.
Right, and that we are working with them and they are working with us collaboratively to come up with that model.
Okay, is there a deadline when parents would know exactly how live instruction is going to work, like what it's going to look like?
You mean a deadline as to whether you choose the hybrid or the distance learning?
No, is there like a deadline in which there's 100%, this is what online is going to look like, this is
The
what?
goal is to have it the week before your child starts school. So
Okay, so is
the
that going to
last
be,
week in August.
is that going to be communicated through email or how would that work?
Oh, no, that's going to be communicated this way from your building principal.
Okay. Okay.
And we'll probably put something on the web in terms of parent resources so that you would see what the expectations are.
Okay. And my next question is the start date of school. Are you guys planning on starting September 8th? Is there anything that would prevent that start date? Or is there anything, you know, are you starting later on? Like, what is that looking like?
September 8th is what day we're starting. That's our plan right now. Short of any direction from the governor, a hurricane, anything of that nature, we're good to go. Our buildings are getting ready and we're looking forward to that. So right now we're a go.
Okay, and just one more question.
Sure.
How many students or staff that would get COVID would require the school to close? And then how long would the school close for?
Yeah, that is something that we have no control over, and that would be dictated to us based upon whatever the infection rate would be, who that is, and that's given to us directed by the Department of Health. That's not our call.
Okay. That's
And
all
they
my
will
questions.
tell us, and they will tell us whether or not we remain open or closed should anything like that happen. Fingers crossed it doesn't, but they dictate that to us.
Okay, thank you.
Anytime. Talk to you soon. I think we have maybe 2 more questions if they're brief. So Melissa, you're up.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
Good. I asked the question before, but I just wanted to let you know that your meeting only allows 300 people in it. I know you said you had 1,000 sign up for it, but
Okay.
it's only allowing 300 people. My friend
Okay,
tried getting in.
Yep, I just got
and it
that.
was maxed out.
Just got that now. Yep.
Okay. And then
We'll fix that for tomorrow
okay, perfect. Thank you.
and for Thursday.
All right. Thank you.
And who's up? We have the Hawthorne family there.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing? We can't hear you, so turn up your volume a little.
Are you hearing me now?
A little bit better. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I'll be really brief. I think most of my questions have been answered. I'm still a little anxious about this whole thing because I'm a nurse and I went through the pandemic, so I know what it is like. So
God bless you.
Yeah, thank you. So I have a special needs son who's going in 6th grade. I mean, I teach him to do the elbow, which he has perfect, but he seemed not to be able to wash his hands all the time. I have to remind him constantly. So just a quick suggestion for you. I'm not asking any questions. I would suggest, and I've been doing that myself, like teaching other person, if you could do like an instructional video as how to put the mask on properly and how to wash hands properly, because there's a right and there's a wrong way. I feel like if we teach more, I think it would be better for everyone. Like if we teach them to, you know, how to sanitize the desk and how to wash your hands properly. Even if a parent wants to do the video, someone coming in to teach, a healthcare personnel will come in to teach how the teachers, how to properly wash hands, because that was one of the things I've noticed during the pandemic, that some of us don't know how to put our mask on properly and how to wash our hands and how germs are transferred from one place to the next. I feel like if that is implemented, I feel like it will help. alleviate some of the issues.
Mrs. Hawthorne, on behalf of everybody in our community and the work that you do for a nurse, as a nurse, thank you, and thank you for these recommendations. We do have some plans for instructional videos coming up throughout the course of the school year and soon, and this is something that certainly we'll consider to incorporate. It's a great idea, and what a great way for us to end our time together with our parents tonight. So thank you for that very much. So ladies and gentlemen, we had a lot of good questions tonight. We're comfortable to hear that many parents said that many of their questions were answered as we went through our 2 hours together. We'll be sure that we adjust where we are with Zoom tomorrow night, because we did have over 1,100 folks who had registered, and we'll be sure to give those folks the opportunity tomorrow and Thursday as well. And again, many of the questions that you have had tonight that we answered will be reiterated again by your building administration in the next 2 weeks. So stay tuned. This was great. And you know what? This is something that we should do more often, even when there isn't in the middle of a pandemic. So have a good night. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Thank you for your questions.